Hey everybody, welcome back. So, we got some big news yesterday. Sony released the entire list of 20 games that are going to be included on the PlayStation Classic. So, let's start by, I'm going to read off the list of games to you, and then we're going to go back and we're going to talk about what games they should have included and where Sony missed a really good opportunity to really hit it out of the park as far as games for this classic console. Here's the list. They got Battle Arena Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms. Let's talk about what Sony got right on this list, okay? Cool Borders 2. That's a no-brainer. That's a given. One of the biggest games on the console. I guess let's give them Destruction Derby. We'll give them that one. Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid is a great game. Love that game. Final Fantasy VII. I'm not a Final Fantasy guy. The only RPG type games that I play are like Zelda and stuff like that. I'm not really into the turn-based RPG stuff like Final Fantasy. But a lot of people are. So, yeah, cool. Feed them. Give them what they want. You got to have something for everybody on there. So, Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, sounds good. Rayman. Rayman's a great game. My son plays all the Rayman games. He loves them. So, absolutely, Rayman. It's a great kids game. A lot of, most of us that had these consoles when we were kids, we're adults now. We got little kids. They're going to love that game. Ridge Racer Type 4. Great game. Should be on there. Tekken 3. Greatest fighting game of the console generation, and I would argue that it defined fighting games for a long time. Fighting games don't seem to be nearly as popular today as they were back then, but for 2-3 console generations, they were a console seller. You can move consoles based on a game like Tekken 3, and unfortunately, that's it. Sony had some big misses on this list. So you got 7 games that are good, solid games, okay? And 5 of them they told you about in the very beginning when they said, "Hey, here's a teaser, here's a little taste, here's 5 of the games we're going to include on this console." What they weren't telling you was that you were going to have 13, 14 big disappointments. Now, if you ask me, Sony needed to hit it out of the park with at least half of the lineup on this console. They missed some big hitters. They missed Gran Turismo 1 and 2. Those are games that defined racing games, not just on that generation, but on every generation since. Gran Turismo is the benchmark by which all other racing games are measured. And they didn't include Gran Turismo 1 or 2 on this console. They also whiffed by not including Crash Bandicoot or Crash Team Racing. How do you not include Crash Bandicoot? Sony didn't include Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider, one of the biggest games on the console, didn't include it. They could have included either Tony Hawk Pro Skater or Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 or both on the console. I understand you're going to have to pay royalties and stuff like that. So maybe you go with one of them and you go with Pro Skater 2. It's a little bit better game. So you go with Pro Skater 2. Did they do that? No. No, they didn't. No. Street Fighter Alpha 3. They could have included Street Fighter Alpha 3, but instead they went with this Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. Oh, God. That's terrible. That's just a bad decision. Who made that decision and still has a job at Sony? I'd like to know that. You know what? Fire his ass and hire me, because I'll save you from making that mistake again. Twisted Metal 2. The Twisted Metal games were huge on the PlayStation. Everybody had that game. Probably, everybody. We had both of them. Twisted Metal 2. Why did you do Twisted Metal 1? I mean, at least you got a Twisted Metal game on there, but it should have been Twisted Metal 2. Spyro the Dragon. You could have put Spyro the Dragon on there. Every kid played that game. Every kid had that game. That was a massive game, but you didn't do it. Sony. I feel like you started off at a massive disadvantage because the library on the PlayStation is not as compelling as the library of, say, Nintendo. But you do have a lot of great games. And you decided to put 13 games that not everybody knows who they are or what they are. Not everybody played them. You had an opportunity to put games that are legendary. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Gran Turismo, Spyro the Dragon. You could have put games on this console that you would not have outsold the Nintendo classics. That was not in the cards for you. But you could have been in the conversation. And what I mean by that is not that you would have been close, but you would have sold enough to warrant a PlayStation 2 classic. But I don't think you're going to, because this selection's horseshit. And that's the truth. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hit like, hit dislike, leave a comment, subscribe. You know the spiel. You hear it at the end of every YouTube video. So please, do those things for me. Thanks. See you next time.